welcome to this live event about emotional regulation. My name is Yvette. I combine research with meditation, and in the first half, I will be discussing tips for emotional regulation, which are evidence based, and the second half will be a 10-minute meditation. And if I talk about emotional regulation, what I mean by that is not to run away from an emotion, not pushing it away. It means taking an action that alters the intensity of an emotional experience. So not suppressing, not avoiding, but altering. And with emotional regulation skills, you can influence which emotions you have and how you express them. I don't think everyone struggles with emotional regulation. I know I do. And when I talk about the window of tolerance, I was always out of it. So when you have a window of tolerance, you can indeed experience anger, sadness, but you can hold yourself together, you won't act out. And sometimes when you go out of your window of tolerance, this might mean that you really have an intense too much of an intense experience of a certain emotion. For example, anger. You can have an anger outburst. And some people have learned how to regulate their emotions from a young age. They grew up in a certain environment. And other people like me, I wasn't been taught. I don't know if you have been taught emotional regulation skills, but I wasn't. It can also be a genetical thing. And there are many other reasons why some people experience more problems with emotional regulation than others. And I want to talk about the ability to effectively work on our emotions. And some of these can be learned over time. So don't worry if you don't possess it. But it is really important when we can work with our emotions instead of them having the better of us. At least I know I have experienced that, and it can stand in the way of many things. But let's continue about tools that you can use. And what will help is to create space. That's the first thing. And you're doing that right now by being here. Then it's really important to notice what you feel. So Dr. Judson Brewer, excuse me if I pronounce the name incorrectly, recommends practices for becoming more curious about your physical reactions. So not only checking in like, okay, what emotions am I feeling? Am I feeling sad or angry? Also physical reactions. Am I feeling cold? Am I feeling tired? Am I hungry? Is my body noticing something? Because these could already be signs of what your emotions are. They can be clues. And yes, it is important to, of course, check in what are the emotions. And name what you feel. That is also a tip. Name what you feel. I often do that in meditation. I do that a couple of times a day even, just to check in and name out loud what I feel. And I end it with, but that's okay, or something like that. But this can be something to acknowledge your emotion. And then comes the part where you accept the emotion. You have people who can accept the emotion, move on. I am not one of them. I am not one of them. That's why I, for example, give my emotion a number on a scale from 1 to 10. That's why I follow it, trace it in my body, and breathe through it. Now, talking about breathing in itself can be an emotional regulation strategy. But I was just talking about the simple things to create space, notice what you feel, name what you feel, and accept the emotion. But there are other things we can do if, for example, our emotions are too intense. In my experience, if I rate these emotions and my anxiety is higher than a 7 or my anger is higher than a 7, I won't be able to do a mindfulness meditation, which is an emotional regulation strategy. but my energy is this high and I'm trying an activity which is this high. That isn't going to work. I need to find an activity which is also at the same level. And one of them is physical exercise. It has been shown to reduce stress, anxiety, depression while enhancing mood. A lot of research is about this. I won't bother you with all the names. I can't even pronounce this one. Mikkelsen, Strojanowska in 2017 and colleagues. But of course, don't overdo it. And that's with everything, balance is key. I've been a victim myself of trying to alter my emotions with exercise, and it became a whole different thing. So what are other things? Now there's another emotional regulation strategy, and I'm going to be honest, it didn't work for me. But I want to share it because perhaps it worked for you. And it's cognitive reappraisal, where you change the way how you think about the situation to alter the emotional impact. And it's a key component of cognitive behavioral therapy. And it's been shown effective in reducing negative emotions. So Gross in 2002 did a study about this. And even if it doesn't work for me, it can work for you. And another emotional regulation tool, which sometimes I use, other times I don't, is expressive writing or journaling. Writing about one's thought, what you're thinking, what you're feeling, can help process emotions and reduce stress. And this technique can lead to better emotional regulation. Pennebaker in 1997 did a study about writing about emotional experiences as a therapeutic process. So this is quite an old source, but hey, if it works. And then deep reading exercises. I didn't do a study now on all the different breathing exercises which can help with emotional regulation. I did find that breathing exercises help, but I'm questioning now, as a researcher that I am, what kind of deep breathing exercises. I didn't find an answer for that, so I'm going to be honest with you. But we are going to incorporate a breathing exercise, but that's more to ground ourselves into deep meditation later. What I can share, and I haven't found any sources on this, but it does help me, are breathing circles, where you go live, where you join someone, a breathing coach who has got their training, and you breathe with multiple people at the same time. You do deep breathing only through the mouth, so in through the mouth, out, and you get into this state and you let the body do the talking. It's very intense. I was already a vivid meditator before this, but this really helps me release emotions, and afterwards it's easy for me to regulate my emotions. And I'm almost forgetting another tip, which is gratitude. And this can shift your perception on the emotion you're experiencing. And that's to think of 3 things what you're grateful for today. I love incorporating gratitude in my meditation, so we are going to do that today. So are you ready to join me in meditation? And we will start with the first step, and that's creating space. So I invite you to sit, feet on the floor, close your eyes, and we're going to breathe in through our nose for 4, and then pause, and then breathe out through pursed lips as if you're blowing out a candle for 6, or you can try the 5 and 7, whatever you prefer, as long as your out breath is longer than the in breath. So you can breathe in, pause, and breathe out through pursed lips. Breathe in, pause, out. A final deep breath in. Pause and let go. You can return to your natural breath. Thank yourself for investing this time in you. And say, hello buddy, how are you doing today? Notice what you feel. For example, what physical symptoms are you feeling? Perhaps you're feeling hot or tired. A little tense. Maybe your stomach feels tense. Or a clenched jaw. These might all be clues of what your emotions are. And that's the next step. What are you feeling? Are you feeling anger, fear, sadness, or happiness? And you might want to state it out loud. I feel anxious, but that's okay. I feel happy, but that's okay. And give it a number on a scale from 1 to 10. I feel anxious and it's a 5. And in order to accept it better, breathe through the emotion. We're not running away. Just return to your emotion. Trace it in your body. I feel it in my stomach, the anxiety. Where do you feel it? Excellent. We're moving on. What are you grateful for today? I'm grateful that you are here. Now, can you think of a healthy way how to respond to these emotions? Perhaps more deep breathing, journaling, exercising. And try to set the intention to pay more attention to your emotions throughout the day. Can you give yourself a hug? And again, thank yourself for taking this time, learning about emotional regulation, and practicing an emotional check in. Thank you, you can open your eyes. How was that experience?